$1, not for chewing gum, not for a coupon, but rather a tool, pliers, screwdrivers, measuring tape, metal accessories, not clearance items. It's not a mistake, but it's brand new, neatly arranged on the shelf. Yes, you heard right. It's Harbor Freight's Dollar Day, a day when ordinary items suddenly become so cheap that you feel like you're doing something shady, even though you still have a proper receipt in your hand. And the strangest thing is this: you don't doubt Harbor Freight, you doubt yourself. Is there an invisible cost behind the figure? Is there a compromise being hidden? And are all the items on Dollar Day as good a deal as they seem? If you've ever held an item from Harbor Freight in your hand and thought, "It's so cheap, I'd be a fool not to buy it," this video is for you. Harbor Freight's Dollar Day isn't the kind of sale you usually see. It's not a warehouse clearance. It's not Black Friday. It's not the flashy red banners that say, "Buy now or miss out." Actually, if you just look at the surface, Dollar Day seems quite quiet, not noisy, no drama. It's just a list of familiar items, priced down to some very strange numbers: $1, $2, $5. And it's that price point that makes everything unusual. Because this isn't the kind of 10 to 15% discount just for show. There are items discounted by nearly 60%. This item used to sell for $4.99, but now it's was $2.49, now only $1. Even there are deals that, if you compare them directly, are even cheaper than a parking lot sale. And a parking lot sale is already when Harbor Freight goes all out. Interestingly, Dollar Day doesn't try to make you buy a lot. It doesn't sell combos. I'm not making you buy 3 get 1 free. Don't suggest anything else you don't need. It just put that item on the shelf. At a price so low you have to wonder, why is it so cheap? And then you start to understand something. Harbor Freight doesn't sell tools on Dollar Day. They sell the feeling that they've just bought something at a bargain. It's not because the item is too fancy, but because of the price that makes you feel. At least this time, I didn't get pickpocketed. In a world where everything is going up in price, Dollar Day feels like a rare day when you walk out of the store and don't feel like you just did something wrong with your wallet. But wait, if you want to hear more analyses or tips like this that help you keep more money in your wallet, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Let's continue. There's a very special area during Harbor Freight's Dollar Day. It's not a large clothing area. It's not about the fancy-looking dishes, but rather, they're so cheap you don't even need to think about it anymore. For example, heat shrink tubing. Usually it's a few dollars over 20. When a dollar was worth exactly $1, decreased by nearly 60%. You're not standing there considering, "Don't read reviews. I wonder if this type is durable." Because you only have one very real thought in your head. Why worry about using up heat shrink tubing when I won't use it all? Then there's the small razor blade. $1. It's cheaper than the cup of coffee you bought on your way here. You don't buy it because it's good. You buy it because you'll need it eventually. Scrape off the old glue, scrape off the paint drips, or simply throw it in a drawer and leave it there for peace of mind. Super adhesive gel glue. 3 tubes. $1. No one at Dollar Day sits around comparing this glue to big brands. No one asked how long it would take to dry, because this is temporary glue for quick fixes and to get the job done. If it's over, then it's over. If it's broken, throw it away. And that's precisely the key point. The items in the too cheap to think zone are not meant for you to invest in. It's not to show off, and it's not meant to last a lifetime. This is consumable. Once you use it, it's gone. And since it's a consumable, price is more important than any promise of quality. Orange-scented hand soap. $1. Wash off oil and grease. Wash off dirt after working in the garage. You don't need it to last a long time. Beautiful packaging is not necessary. Just wash your hands and don't be stingy. And that's when your brain turns off some questions. At this price point, you're not buying performance. You buy permission. Let me try. Allow me to buy extra. Allow yourself to be wrong without regret. Many customers say directly, "If these items break, I won't feel bad. It sounds a bit harsh, but that's the truth. Dollar Day didn't win because it made better products, and because it frees you from having to think every time you reach for your wallet, and once you're used to buying $1 items without thinking, you start to enter the next zone, where not everything cheap is worth buying, and knowing when to stop is what makes you a smarter shopper. Oh, if you've ever found yourself standing in this exact area, picking something up and saying, "Oh well, it's only $1," then you're probably the type of person who will enjoy the next parts of this video. And if you want to hear more analyses or shares like this that help you save more money in your wallet, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Let's continue. There's something very important that Harbor Freight's Dollar Days inadvertently exposed. Not everything that's cheap is worth buying. It sounds obvious. But standing amidst a pile of $1, $2, and $5 prices, the line between a smart buy and a foolish purchase is thinner than you think. There are some dishes where you just look at the price and know, okay, I'm buying this right away. But there are also items where the price reduction is only enough to tempt you to open your wallet, but not enough to be considered a deal. For example, those small bar clamps. It's only a 14% discount, from 30-something down to $3. Not expensive, but it's not much cheaper than usual. And if you've ever bought things like this, you'll understand the feeling afterward. Wait, why didn't I wait longer? Screwdrivers decreased by 19%. Solar string lights decreased by 19%. It looks okay, but if you've followed Harbor Freight long enough, you know these items will eventually have a 30% off sale. And then, the question is no longer whether to buy or not, but rather, is it worth buying now? What makes viewers believe in these types of videos isn't because they showcase a lot of deals, and because he dared to say directly, wait a minute. In the reviews, a lot of Harbor Freight customers said the same thing. Thank you for telling me not to buy. It sounds a bit counterintuitive, but that's what faith is. Customers hate being tricked the most, but they really like being confirmed that they're not buying fees. Smart shopping isn't always about leaving the store with more items. Sometimes, the smart buy is to put the item down, turn around, and wait another week. As they often say, the best deal is sometimes the one you pass up. And once you start distinguishing between what to buy immediately and what to leave for later, you'll find something very interesting in the next part. Just a few items that are cheap in the right places are enough to make your entire garage look much neater and more breathable. Oh, if you find this straightforward style of speaking suits you, with no promises or sales pitches, then don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel. You might want to stay for many more videos with us. And now, let's continue. There's something quite funny about Harbor Freight's Dollar Day. The items that change your garage the most aren't the big, heavy, or impressive-looking ones, but it's a few items, $2, $3, $4. For example, the magnetic bar for hanging tools. Usually, it's almost $5. When the dollar was worth $2, decreased by nearly 60%, what are $2 for? Not to buy more tools, and to avoid getting annoyed. Before you had it, you'd rummage around for pliers, a screwdriver, sometimes under the table, sometimes tucked away in some box you'd forgotten about. After hanging it on the wall, you just need to take a quick glance to see it. It's not that your garage is richer, but it's so your brain gets less tired. Then there are the magnetic trays for holding screws and bolts. $4. It doesn't sound too bad. But anyone who has ever dropped a small snail on a concrete floor will understand how unpleasant that feeling is. You didn't buy this tray to work professionally. You buy it so you don't have to crawl on the floor, swear in your head, and waste an extra 10 minutes just to find something tiny. And the pickup tool, $2. Sometimes screws fall into narrow gaps, under tables, or behind cutting machines. Normally, you'd bend down, stretch, or if you're too lazy, just give up altogether. $2 so I don't have to do those things anymore. And the interesting thing is, these items don't make you work much faster, but they bother you much less. Many customers say the same thing. A tidy garage isn't for show. A tidy garage makes it pleasant to enter every time. That's why these -$5 items create such a strange effect. You don't see yourself buying things. You find yourself buying back the feeling of controlling your own space, no longer feeling like the garage is a chaotic place, but rather, wherever the stuff is, it's there. And once you've tasted the feeling of spending just a few dollars and feeling so much less stressed, you start the next part, where Dollar Day isn't just about buying cheap things, but about having a good laugh at your own shopping habits. There's something very strange about Harbor Freight's Dollar Day. It doesn't make you laugh out of joy. It makes you laugh because you got caught red-handed. No one walks into a store and says outright, "Today, I'm going to buy some unnecessary items." Everyone has a very reasonable reason. Buy it and keep it ready. Sometimes it will be necessary. It's too cheap. It would be a waste not to buy it. Does that sound familiar? A lot of comments under Harbor Freight's Dollar Day posts are all the same. "Oh, stopping by after work. Don't tell my wife." It's not because the item is expensive, and because it's so cheap. There's no good reason to explain it. You bring home a small bag of groceries, the bill is a few dollars. But in my head, there's still a very quick dialogue. Okay, it's cheap, but what am I going to buy this for? And then you laugh to yourself. Dollar Day creates a very special kind of humor. Not the kind of hearty laugh, but it's that kind of tight-lipped smile, like when you look back at the pile of stuff in your garage and realize, "Oh, I really am that kind of person." Some people say, "This year's pain is less." That sentence sounds happy, but it hit on something very true. In a world where everything is increasing in price, being able to buy a few items without having to calculate too much is a relief in itself. You don't need to justify yourself. No need to convince anyone. There's no need to tell yourself this is an investment. You simply buy, and don't feel guilty as usual. And that's why people laugh when they talk about Dollar Day. It's not because it's funny, but because it reveals our very human shopping habits. We like to think we shop rationally, but the truth is, as long as the price drops low enough, our brains will automatically help write a reasonable story. Oh well, it's only a few dollars. The laughter in Dollar Day is the laughter you have when you realize you're not alone. That many other people are also carrying a small bag of groceries, walking out to the parking lot, laughing, and thinking, "I'm probably not the only one." And it was that very moment that led us to the next part, where the laughter paused for a bit and frustration began to show. As Dollar Day doesn't always go exactly as we hope. If you want to hear more analyses or shares like this that help you keep more money in your wallet, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Let's continue. There's another side to Dollar Day at Harbor Freight that few videos mention. It's not because it's bad, but because it's a bit difficult to say. You can view the deal list. The price is too good. I already had it figured out in my head. Okay, I'll stop by after work, quickly buy these few things, and I'm done. Then you go to the store, and the shelf is empty. It's not completely empty, but the item you need is no longer available. The magnetic bar for hanging things? Done. Heat shrink tubing 1 degree, and it's exactly the kind that can't be used. What are some things worth buying right away? I don't see it anywhere. You stood there for a few seconds. Don't get angry right away. Just a sigh. And a very familiar thought popped into my head. It's probably because I'm late. But then you read the comments. Others are exactly the same. Different store, different state, the same feeling. Then there's the Inside Track Club. Sounds good. It sounds like taking a step ahead. But when the time comes, many people still face the situation. Out of stock. No reservations. No rain checks. There's a deal to be had. On paper. On the app. On the video. It's just not in your store. And the important thing here is, the audience isn't angry at the video creator. They don't blame people for sharing the deal. They're just annoyed with the system. Annoyed by the feeling of emptiness. Annoyed that I wasted time stopping by. Frustrated because I knew that if I had arrived a little earlier, or gone to a different store, things might have been different. But then, that annoyance didn't last. Because anyone who shops at Harbor Freight long enough understands one thing. Yeah, this happens all the time. Not the first time. and probably not the last time either. And it was that very recognition that brought the community together on the same side. No one demands perfection. No one needs defending. Just one very honest sentence. Yeah, this happened. Because sometimes, what bothers people the most isn't not being able to buy a cheap item, but it's the feeling of a deal being right in front of you, but out of reach. And from that very mundane frustration, we began to look at something else. Not the deal, not the price, but why these kinds of videos are still trusted, watched, and revisited. There's a question that few people say out loud, but many think in their heads. There's no shortage of videos about deals online, so why should I trust these videos? It's not because it's cheaper somewhere else, it's not because it's filmed better, and it's certainly not because the narration is better. The reason is actually very simple. Because this video maker went in your place. They don't sit at home, open an app, read a list of coupons, and then repeat them. They walked into the store, go through each shelf, pick up the item, then put it down if you don't feel comfortable. It sounds normal. But now, that's something that's no longer common. Many people say directly, I don't watch channels that just sit at home and read deals. It's not because they hate, but because they don't believe. Because everyone knows one thing. The prices on the app and the prices in the store are not always the same. Going to the store really means accepting risk. It might be out of stock. It might not be the right size. That deal might look great on paper, but in reality, it's not worth buying. And it's precisely the courage to show that which builds trust. Trust doesn't come from being right all the time. Confidence comes from daring to say no. I dare say, this dish is cheap. But wait, this dish isn't deep enough. This one will be better if you wait longer. It sounds like you're making things difficult for yourself. But for customers, it's a sign of someone who isn't selling at any cost. An interesting thing that many customers have said is this: "Thank you for telling me not to buy." That's not a criticism. That is the word of faith. People don't believe you just because you point out a good deal. People believe you because you help them avoid bad deals. And there's one more thing. Very important. These kinds of videos don't try to pretend they know a lot. Not boasting about the specs. Don't use high-flown language. Just speak in the language of manual laborers. Someone who has bought before. I've regretted it before. Learn from experience. It's not high production that makes people stay. It's not flashy thumbnails that keep viewers engaged. New presence is what builds trust. Store presence. Presence in the comments. And the presence in the way they speak is very down to earth. And when you realize that, you start to understand why. Even though people get annoyed when things are out of stock or shake their heads at some deals, they still come back to watch. Because in the end, people don't believe in prices. People believe in humans. And from that belief, we arrive at the final part, where everything circles back to the original question. So, in the end, what was wrong with Dollar Day? Or did it just make us realize something about ourselves? So, what exactly is wrong with Harbor Freight's Dollar Day? Perhaps it's not wrong, it just makes us feel strange. Strange because the tools are so cheap that they don't need to be justified. Strange because holding a bill for a few dollars didn't bring the familiar feeling of regret. And the strangest thing is realizing, wait, how used to paying high prices have I become all this time? Dollar Day isn't the day you get the best deals, but it's very likely that's the day you shop with the lightest heart. It's not because you buy a lot, and because you're not forced to think too much. And perhaps, in a world where everything is expensive, the feeling of not being pickpocketed is, in itself, something to be mentioned. Now I want to hear from you. Which item on Dollar Day made you think, this is so cheap? It feels wrong, but I'm still buying it. And which dish did you pick up and put down, knowing that waiting longer would be wiser? If you've ever gone to a store and they were out of stock, bought something just because it was a few dollars, or laughed to yourself in the parking lot when you saw the bill, feel free to share your stories below. Not to brag, just to know I'm not the only one. If you find this style of talking suits you, no embellishing the deal, no unnecessary criticism, just accurately describing the feeling of shopping in real life, then subscribing to the channel simply means. Next time something similar happens, we'll sit down and talk again. Finally, to be clear, prices may vary by store. The item could sell out at any time. What is shared here is personal experience, not absolute shopping advice. Whether you buy it or not is always your decision. And that's the most important thing. Dollar Day doesn't teach us how to buy cheap. It just reminds us that some days, shopping doesn't have to be a headache, and that's more than enough. See you in the comments section and in the next videos.